2024. The bill advances the administration's fiscal consolidation plan through expenditure rationalization. In that endeavor, the bill reduces the overall budget for financial year 2023-2024 by Kenya shillings 132.46 billion from Kenya shillings 3,981.53 billion to Kenya shillings 3,848.07 billion. Following the rationalization of expenditure under various votes, the bill authorizes the issuance of Kenya shillings 102 billion out of the consolidated fund and sanctions its application towards the supply granted for the service of the financial year ending 30th June 2024. The second bill, the Division of Revenue Bill 2024, shares the revenue raised nationally between the national government and county governments by allocating Kenya shillings 2.5 trillion to the national government and Kenya shillings 400.1 billion to county governments. In the honor of the administration's pledge to foster devolution, the allocation to county governments is 25.48% of the most recent audited accounts of revenue, far above the 15% minimum constitutional threshold. This marks an increase in allocation from the last financial year to county governments by Kenya shillings 14.7 billion. The bill also actualizes Article 204 of the Constitution on the Equalization Fund by providing for an allocation of Kenya shillings 7.85 billion to the Equalization Fund. Your Excellency, with both houses of Parliament having discharged their law-making mandate, Your Excellency, as the head of state and government, is most graciously invited to exercise your presidential prerogative as vested in you by Article 115 of the Constitution to assent to the two bills. Your Excellency, sir, permit me now invite the Clerk of the National Assembly to convey the volume copies of the bills for Your Excellency's presidential assent.
Your Excellency, I have the instruction of the Speaker of the National Assembly to place before you for your assent these two pieces of legislation which have gone through passage in the National Assembly and in both houses. The first one, Your Excellency, is a supplemental appropriation number 2 bill, whose objective is threefold. The first one, Your Excellency, is to regularize expenditures under Article 223 of the Constitution, largely with respect to the interventions that have been made by the national government to the areas that have been hardly hit by the flooding, Your Excellency. The second aspect of it is also to regularize any expenditures that have been made by our security forces, Your Excellency, and also to regularize expenditures under Article 223 with respect to the repairs of roads on areas that have been hit by the El Nino rains. The other aspect of it with respect to Article 223, Your Excellency, is to allow the national government to undertake certain humanitarian measures in areas that have been hit by the floods. The second part of the supplementary appropriation bill, Your Excellency, is to regularize expenditures so as to reduce certain expenses that are going to have implication on the debt numbers of the national government. And therefore, all sectors of government, all ministries have gotten a haircut with respect to the expenditures so as to reduce our debt obligations, Your Excellency, to manageable levels.
Is that in line with the meeting we had here with the MDAs to reduce 30% of their recurrent expenditure?
Your Excellency, we are notified by the Chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, who is present today, that these expenses relating to the reduction are in line with the instructions of the Cabinet after the meeting of the MDAs, so as to reduce expenditures in non-priority areas, Your Excellency. The House was also notified by the Chairman of Budget and Appropriations Committee and the Leader of Majority Party during the passage of the bill that certain areas are going to benefit from the supplemental appropriation number 2 bill. This includes the university, the education sector, largely the universities, which are getting about 4.1 billion. Capitation for secondary schools, Your Excellency, is also another gainer. Agriculture sector is also a gainer, particularly with respect to the subsidy for fertilizer. There are also certain funds which have been directed to mopping up of excess milk that have been produced by our farmers, Your Excellency. That is with respect to the supplemental appropriation bill. The second bill, Your Excellency, is a bill that has gone through a mediation process. It was initially introduced
on the mopping up of milk. How much have we built the kitty now? We wanted to do 1.5 billion. Are we at 1.5? We are at 1.5. And the money has been released to the dairy sector, to KCC. We also wanted to do another 1.5. That is the discussion I have had with the ministry and the dairy sector to make sure that we live up to 2 of our commitments, that payment is made on time and the amount paid by KCC should be 50 shillings per litre. Yeah. I am told the 50 shillings has been implemented, but some of the cooperatives are taking maybe 2, 3, up to 5 shillings. We need to engage so that our instructions are that the 50 shillings should go to the farmer. So we need to sort out. Correct. Yeah. And the tranche that was released to KCC, the last tranche was about 600 million. That was like when? The other week. Okay. Somebody should follow up whether by 10, which is today, all the farmers should have been paid, as I was briefed by the ministry. So somebody should follow up. Maybe was it?
Yes, Your Excellency, other than the mopping up of excess milk, in the supplemental appropriation number 2 is the El Nino disaster relief assistance, Your Excellency, and also pending bills.
Yes.
The second bill, Your Excellency, is a...
And that includes the resources that we have released for the Ministry of Interior to support all the families with the commitment we made. Cabinet, we made a decision in cabinet that 10,000 shillings. No Kenyan should be packed in rain or they should be supported to find alternative accommodation. It's paid?
Yeah, we already provided for it.
Okay. Okay. So what is the...
Your Excellency, the second bill is a division of revenue bill. This is a bill that has gone through a mediation process between the 2 houses. It will be recalled that the National Assembly had initially proposed an allocation of 491 billion to the county governments. The Senate proposed 400. The National Assembly had proposed 391 billion. The Senate had proposed 415 billion, Your Excellency. Thereafter, after mediation, the mediation committee was led by the member for Kiharu and the chairman of Budget and Appropriations Committee, together with the senator for Meru, the Honorable Kadhuri Murungi. And they, after a lot of consultations, a lot of concessions, Your Excellency, they agreed to give our 47 county governments an amount of 400.1 billion with respect to the financial year 2024-2025.
Up from 300?
This figure, Your Excellency, represents about 25.5% of the last audited accounts for the national government, up 10 points from what is the minimum threshold of 15% set by the Constitution. Your Excellency, this figure also represents an additional 15 billion going to the counties compared to the amount that has gone to the counties in the current financial year, which is ending in the next 2 weeks.
And actually, the figure is actually higher than the figure recommended by CRA out of the support of the commission. And there is other resources also in terms of conditional plans. Okay. We are separate bill of 45 billion.
Your Excellency.
So we have not only met the requirement, the constitutional requirement of 15%, we are at 25.
25%, Your Excellency.
And it is also an increment in terms of absolute numbers from last year by 15 billion.
From 385 billion
to 400.
Yes.
400 or 200 billion.
About 15 billion, Your Excellency.
Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Excellency.
Okay.
It is also expected that the county will get additional funds under the County Additional of Revenue Allocation Bill, which is also going through the Houses of Parliament. There is also an amount of 7.8 billion, Your Excellency, which has been authorized by way of this bill for purposes of the Equalization Fund. Okay. It is hoped that this money will be spent to assist our marginalized areas with respect to electricity, water, and other sectors, so as to continue bringing the marginalized areas at par with the rest of the areas, Your Excellency.
The 14 counties that are...
Nowadays they are more because they are pockets.
Okay.
So in overall there are 6 counties.
That's 6 counties.
And on top of that, Your Excellency, there is approximately 3.5 billion for the previous arrears of the Syndication Fund,
which we are now
facing out.
Okay.
Your Excellency, now
this is because for almost, I think, 8 years, there was a standoff. And now, so we are now paying the arrears and also for the current. Okay.
Your Excellency, you are sent the Division of Revenue Bill 2024 now pave way the National Assembly to conclude its passage of the Appropriation Bill 2024, which is awaiting publication, and also the Senate to conclude its passage of the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, so as to allocate the 400.1 billion horizontally amongst our 47 county governments.
That will be done by the Senate.
The Senate, Your Excellency, will do that and then send that bill to the National Assembly, Your Excellency. May I also request Your Excellency to also...
It will still come back to the National Assembly?
Yes, under the Constitution, yes.
Okay.
May I also request Your Excellency to now sign off the Treasury warrants so as to authorize the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury to make necessary withdrawals with respect to the Supplementary Appropriation Number 2 bill. These Treasury warrants, Your Excellency, have been prepared by the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury together with the Attorney General as required under the PFM Act. You can see, Your Excellency, from the Treasury warrants, there is a reduction of expenditures, as indicated.
That was what I was checking.
Your Excellency, there is a drop in CFS and the favorable interest rates and tax treatment.
Okay. I also wanted to check, and I see it here, on our environment issues. And I have seen there is some money to the State Department for Forestry because of our, you can see the Attorney General here is geared to go tree planting. And,
Your Excellency, I seek your leave to end there today.
Your Excellency, in concluding our day's ceremony, I most graciously request that Your Excellency hands over a copy of the two acts to the Attorney General for publication into law, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning for implementation, and a ceremonial copy to the Deputy President. Sir, as a mark of convergence of legislative vision and executive stewardship, you may also hand a copy to the Speaker of the National Assembly and all the honored guests for ceremonial display. Your Excellency will open and display a ceremonial copy of the Act, while all the other members display an encased closed copy of the Act. Photo. I thank you, Your Excellency.